Hey, what's going on? Yes, I'm in the tent. I feel like the title really kind of screams tent. Um, but my goal is, I don't fucking know what my goal is. My goal is to be funny and share my mind with people. Based on just all the things that come with like YouTube and bullshit and followers, like I don't know how I have 1,000 people that have decided that they want to follow me on Instagram. I don't comprehend that. Um, but based on that information, I'll probably get 200 people to follow me on YouTube, and that's only because I'm a broke comedian, and you know rooms don't exist anymore. So you know, bottom line is that I gotta find a way to be funny. But I'm not that desperate. I'm not YouTube desperate to be funny. So I looked at this as a whole nother vibe, a whole nother idea. Like, I love telling jokes. But with everything, I mean, Jesus Christ, you see the shit that my son watches. He watches other people watch YouTube. Like, what the fuck kind of shit is that, So, um, how about this? And I'm not feeling the best right now. I hope we can talk about things that actually address who we are and who I am. I feel like that's what people do anyway. I listened to something the other day. This guy says, with everything that's going on in the world, YouTube is made of likes. Now, I understand black people going through a struggle. Everybody gets a pass except for black people. And I mean that in a way where motherfuckers been marching and struggling for years. Like, we no wonder marching bands kill because black people were really good at marching. But on some real shit, like you just watch everybody in this time machine of civil rights, and it continues to go on, and that's just what it is. But what I listened to the other day was a guy basically saying, like, with everything going on in the world, there's no one talking about, the tyranny and the genocide that goes on for black people in America. All right, nigga, yes, you're right. But, like, it's awful. But I don't want to be black. I just want to be me, right? It's not that crazy. And the only reason I realize that can happen is because I grew up in a lot of different places, and being black was not something that I associated with in the first place. So I get it. Like, if you grew up in America, depending on the region of the country, you were reminded that you were black. I grew up in the military. I grew up all over the world. So I was just part of a system. And based on the fact of how young I was, I didn't associate it with color until I moved to the South and I realized that you can say boy in 2 syllables. Boy. Boy. Hey, boy. I didn't know that you could make a 3-letter word into 2 syllables. Move to the South, they'll show you. So I get it. But then I looked at it like this. Like, yeah, I do need to have substance if I'm going to be out here putting my fucking life out on display. But no one watches this shit unless you, like, play video games or fuck off or, are a politician. So, based on how I'm feeling, and just based on how I live, like, I feel like YouTube instead of more of a entertainment vehicle, is more of a time capsule vehicle. And if you have the ability to give your opinion in a place and time digitally, you can be logged. It might never get seen, and if it gets seen, it might never get appreciated. But in that same tone, you can make yourself a part of history. Do you know that at one point, um, you had to go through everything to be a part of information? Now we live in a world where you can be a part of information just because you decided. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm making it cool because I always do it from a tent, but oh yeah, nigga, I'm going to Vegas at the end of this week. We got to find a way to put tents in the casino. I feel like that's probably. I feel like there's some penalties that come with that, or I can call ahead. But I'm doing it from a tent, and the only thing that makes that different is that black people don't camp because everybody was camping when everybody was like, people were like, oh, it was a great boat ride. Nigga, it was only a great boat ride if you weren't rowing. Like, you just gotta comprehend that kind of shit. So, instead of me looking at a situation where YouTube is going to be the next money maker and I'm gonna go viral, let's just talk about being a black guy in a tent and camping out, doing weird shit. I actually want to. And that's actually the goal. We're gonna take a little trip, and the whole theme of our trip will be doing things the way what. You can't be like, oh, that's white people shit. On some real shit, we're doing all white people shit. I'm gonna have to take a survey because I feel like most of the white people shit that I think is white people shit is all really offensive. So, we gotta figure that out. It needs to be a learning situation for everybody. But, yeah, you gotta find a focus, dude. Right now, I'm not really into generational stuff. I feel that kids are just the most uninteresting motherfuckers in the world. And it's not their fault. It really isn't. Like, they haven't been given a lot. And in that respect, I mean that kids are like, I know a lot of people are gonna watch this, and I mean that by saying 0 views, but there's no texture or context to raising children now. It all depends on your age and how you grew up. And it can be an advantage or a burden. But do you remember, and I don't know if people my age even fucking look at YouTube, but do you remember when everybody had like scabs and scratches on their elbows and knees? Like, you remember merry-go-rounds? And all that fucking hot ass 120-degree metal we used to fucking play on? Like, there's a sign at most Atlanta public parks when it comes to your list of rules that you must be accompanied by a child to be there. Like, we didn't even have creepy people back then. Like, we just had the yard that if your ball went into that yard, nigga, your ball's gone. Now there's a whole system to figure out how many perverts surround you. If you get too drunk and pee outside of a bar and get caught by a police officer, you're on that list. And I'm talking to you too, ladies. But you see my point. Like, And I'm not saying that obstacles don't win, because obstacles do win. Um, Difficulty, struggle, and complications build character and problem solving and strength. Like bullies, there weren't any fucking bullies back in the day. You just quit getting your ass beat, or you stayed away from getting your ass beat and you went into a special room where there were a bunch of books and other nerds. And then you came out with a goddamn computer system and ended up being all of the assholes that used to whoop your ass's boss. And not like their boss, like their supervisor. Like you own the company and they work in the warehouse. Like no one, and it's not part of that, because the issue is that if you grew up that way, you made a promise because of how difficult it was. You made a promise saying, I would never want my child to grow up that way. But context comes from struggle, and struggle used to be a reality, but now struggle is all media based or emotional based. So how do you manage that? How do you give context to a kid? How do you give a lawnmower and chores to a kid? Like, what kind of chores do you give a kid in 2021? Well, I know what I give my son. I tell him to just check my email. And that nigga is killing it. But how do you build that structure? So I guess let's go from there. I'm a guy in a tent, and I'm gonna smoke this healing cigarette off camera. Just because I don't even know how this goes. But like I said, it's a time capsule. No one's going to look at this ever. Or people will look at it always. But it's a moment of conversation. Like, you want your child to have everything in life. But how do you provide and teach strength? Emotional, physical, fiscal, or otherwise. Like, how do you make a world of convenience that you promised yourself that you would give to your child, while giving them the same concept and philosophy of appreciation and problem solving and a social practice that doesn't involve buttons? You know, like, how do you do that? And I don't know. Is this a conversation? I hope so. I'm gonna smoke this little devil stick and take my black ass to bed. But this has been nice, and thank you for listening. And by thank you, I don't know who you are because it's a computer. But it's nice. Black guy from a tent. Talk to you soon. Oh, I gotta hit the button before I. Never mind, I can't just do it. And then it was gonna be dramatic, but now I gotta hit this before. Should I zip and hit? Okay, then we'll do it like that. There we go. Oh, damn, I'm supposed to zip the front part. You know what? Y'all have a good night.